For years, Alexander the Great had been moving east. Each new victory pushed him one step further. But now the lands before him were completely unknown. His target, India. For the Greeks of that time, India was seen as the edge of the world. Maps ended there. Beyond it lay only legends. Great rivers, exotic animals, and frightening rumors. Strange stories spread among the soldiers. Some spoke of enormous creatures, others of beasts that could shake the sky. But none of these stories were as terrifying as what they were about to face. As Alexander advanced into India, he received news. A powerful king stood against him, his name Porus. And in his army was something Alexander had never seen before. War elephants, massive animals covered in armor. Soldiers stood on their backs, and when they moved across the battlefield, the ground trembled. For the Macedonian soldiers, this was a nightmare. Horses panicked, soldiers feared, because they had never faced anything like it. But Alexander did not step back. 326 BC, location, the Hydaspes River. This river would determine the fate of the battle. On the opposite side, Porus's army waited. Elephants, infantry, cavalry, all were ready. But Alexander had one advantage: strategy. The river was wide, the current was strong. Crossing directly would have been suicide. So Alexander made a plan. For days, and he performed deceptive maneuvers, moving his army back and forth. But the real plan was the night. During a stormy night with a selected force, he crossed the river silently. Rain fell, thunder roared, and the noise hid their movements. By morning, Porus's army was shocked. Alexander was already across, and the battle began. Porus sent his elephants forward. With their massive bodies, they advanced toward the Macedonian lines. The ground shook. Soldiers stepped back. Some horses fled in panic. But Alexander's army was disciplined. With long spears, they attacked the elephants. Slowly, they wounded them. The elephants, losing control, began to harm their own troops. This moment changed the course of the battle. After hours of battle, Porus was captured. But even in defeat, he stood tall, in chains. He was brought before Alexander, and Alexander asked him a question. "How do you wish to be treated?" Porus gave a short answer. "Like a king." These words impressed Alexander because the man before him was not afraid. He had not bowed. And Alexander made an unexpected decision. He did not execute him. He forgave him and even returned his lands. This moment showed that Alexander was not only a warrior, but a ruler. The Hydaspes victory was won, but the cost was great. The soldiers were exhausted. They had been away from home for years. Rain, mud, and endless battles had broken their morale. But Alexander still wanted to move forward, because for him, there was always another goal, further east, further still. When Alexander planned another campaign, something unexpected happened. The soldiers, for the first time, refused. Location: the Hyphasis River. There, the army stopped and refused to go further. They had fought for years. They had been wounded. They had lost friends. Now, they wanted to go home. Alexander gave speeches. He tried to convince them. But this time, no one stepped back. The silence was stronger than any words. And in the end, Alexander gave in. For the first time in his life, he chose to turn back. The return was not easy. The army split into two. One part travelled by sea, the other marched by land. But the hardest path was through the desert. Location: the Gadrosian Desert. This journey became a disaster. The heat was unbearable, there was no water, supplies were scarce. Thousands of soldiers lost their lives crossing the desert. This is considered one of Alexander's greatest mistakes. But he kept moving forward because in his mind there was still one final goal.